vocabulary.
Yes. Yes, with Genki all the
That,
time.
oh yeah, that's me right now. My professor suggested switching to Genki, but I really like how in-depth Adventures is. So I've been on Adventures.
Adventures? I don't believe I've heard of that before. What's it like?
Adventures in Japanese, it gives you way more than you need to know to speak the language, but it's really in depth, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So if you study it really well, you'll, at least from what I saw of Genki, I think you'll have a more diverse vocab set. Um, but Genki I think does really well for getting there really fast.
Hmm.
So
If
my professor sent me like the first one, and it was cool. It looked good, but it moved really really fast through like, oh, if you have the minimum vocab for this section, like the absolute minimum to get by and to make sentences, then we're gonna move to the next section.
okay, interesting. Um, if you ever happen to have a link, I'd love to check it out because I'm always down for alternatives to Genki.
Yeah, I can do that. I mean, my professor did suggest moving to Genki, so maybe it's just like a personal thing. Um, and it's a little outdated as well. She has to correct like based off of what people use now instead of when this was written.
Hmm.
So, like, what was one of them?
I think they just really came out with the newest rendition of Genki like 5 months ago, 6 months ago.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
How would you rate your Japanese right now?
Um, the worst. Don't call on me in class.
Why is that? Wait, so how long you been learning for?
I think in November-ish it'll be a year.
Okay,
Wow, a year.
that's awesome.
Wow. And I'm this bad.
Well, can you speak, like, can you carry on a bit of a conversation, or can you read it pretty decently, or?
I haven't. I'm really bad at languages, just in general. Unless I use them like all the time. Like if when I go to another country, it's like okay, I can pick up on it pretty fast. Just because you get like a set of words based off of everything you need to get through your day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in terms of like holistically learning a language, I am very bad at it. Um, so I feel bad for my Japanese teacher. But I am improving. Like she and I can talk. Like in the at the beginning we like say what we did and like how we were for the weekend.
Mm.
And I can understand her most of the time and say what happened to me.
So like the whole, Yube wa nani o shimashita ka, that kind of stuff. Asa wa nani o
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
nani o tabimashita ka, stuff like that. Yeah. We did it
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
in our
yeah.
class.
Like, yeah. A lot of mine is like vocabulary that's not in the textbook though, like garden, no, or gardeningu.
Oh,
Or
yeah. Gardening.
shimashita.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like gardening, mowing the lawn, what plants were growing and now are dead, kind of a thing.
Right on. I don't think I've learned about plants growing. I don't know. How do you say? Or shitsuma ga arimasu. Growing wa Nihongo de nantoimasu ka? Have you heard that before?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, no. Honestly, I'm gonna have to look it up because, like, I don't remember.
Why are you like this? You dumb cats.
Oh my gosh! For a hot second, I was like, there's no need to make me feel bad. I already feel bad.
No, they've been wrestling a lot this morning and they just slammed the door. Bunch of dweebs.
Aw, cute. Okay, Guroing wa nobiru?
Mm.
Nobiru desu.
Nobiru. Sugoi.
Nobiru. Hi. It's for like plants growing,
Okay.
whereas like for people use seichou suru. So,
Interesting. Cool.
there you
Well,
go.
it sounds like this book, because like in Genki, we never learned that. And I've never come across
Oh,
a sense where I would need to use the word growing yet, at least. So it's good to know.
yeah, no, I am. Yeah, I have a very odd vocabulary set.
Same. I mean, a lot of my stuff
Just
was.
because, like,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, a lot of it's just like gaming related, or reading like books or something. But yeah, what were you saying?
Nice. Oh no, I was just gonna say, those growing was not in the textbook. I have a tutor because I started learning Japanese with like some coworkers, and then everyone dropped out, and I was alone. And I was like, well, I'm never going to get it done if I just rely on my own motivation and my own, like, ab I don't know. It's difficult when you're self-learning because there are so many resources, but there's no one resource that can give you everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather have a tutor who I can just be like, how do you say this? Can you answer these questions? Like, what's the difference between, the Tokyo dialect and the Kyoto dialect, whatever.
Yeah.
And I know they're so close, but like, yeah, so I prefer having the tutor even though it's really expensive because, like, I tried to self-learn and I just felt like a dog chasing its own tail.
Yeah. No, valid. That's why I started was with the tutor. I had a tutor for a year before I started taking classes.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I
Nice.
also don't want to take. I also didn't want to do classes because I was like halfway through the adventures book at the time, and I was like, well, here I am halfway in the middle of a book. If I take a Japanese class, I'm wasting the first, semester because I've already done it.
Mm. So did you just skip the first class?
No, I hired a tutor, and then we go through the. She used to be a Japanese teacher full time, so she does tutoring, in her free time, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah, she's pretty good too. Just in terms of being Japanese. Yeah.
Being Japanese.
Helps. Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't know.
You're pretty good at being a Japanese person.
Yeah,
Nihonjin no
exactly.
suru jouzu desu.
Yes. I'm not gonna say that to her face though. I think that would be like
You know,
that
out of
just
all the
sounds
Japanese
like
people I've come across, you do a good job of being Japanese.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know. I grew up, hosting Japanese students, so I had a leg up, but that leg up only lasts for like the first 3 lessons. After that, you're like, oh, I'm here with the rest of y'all. Okay.
Yeah, I feel that. It was funny because Brett was calling me out. He's been calling me out for, well, ever since I took classes in the spring. And I didn't realize that he hadn't taken classes since the spring too. So I'm like, dude, we're both on the same page right now because a lot of us in here just haven't had the motivation recently. Like I still use
Heck
Japanese
yeah.
just about every day with my coworker, but it's not like
Oh, really?
we're not really learning new things very often, you know. I've been learning more Mandarin than I have Japanese lately because a lot of my coworkers are Chinese. But
Oh, okay.
And they
What
understand
is
Japanese, but they don't want to speak Japanese.
rude?
Or-
Although most Chinese people I know are that way, but like, I don't know, any non-adult or anyone who doesn't like do their history or cares enough but doesn't do their history research just hates Japan from China.
Mhm.
And then everyone who doesn't care and has done their history checks or whatever is just like, yeah, I don't care. And that's pretty much the only two types that I have ever met is,
Really?
you know, you either hate Japan because, they invaded your country and stole a ton of ish and then perfected it basically and claimed it as their own. And you're like, hey man, you stole all that. Or the just other people who are like, I have better things to do in my day than complain about Japan, so whatever.
Yeah, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Koreans, they were all rather brutal to each other, that is for sure.
Yeah, but I think each country has done its fair share,
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't think it's really. I don't think there's any room for like China or Japan or South Korea to be like, y'all invaded our country. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of what happened during your whole time period.
Mhm. Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't know. It's kind of the same way in the US, I think, where it's just like these darn immigrants. And it's like, I mean, I mean, yes, but no. No, no. Or, I don't know.
Well, in regards to
France
that,
and Germany getting upset about wars and it's like, y'all, look at yourself.
right? Um, it's interesting to me because you have this country, founded by pioneers, and then we steal people's land, and um, I don't know, treat the people that were the original inhabitants terribly and still do, and then we've adopted this nationalistic sense that once we're here, it's like no, no one else can come. Just boggles my mind.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a culture that like you really want to protect, I understand like maybe like turning the waterfall into a drip feed system and then
Hmm, I
like
like that.
doing whatever. If that's your goal, do that, but I don't think cutting off is the right way to go just because of who, you know, I don't know. For like over 100 years it's just like America's the best. Everyone wants to come to America, but then they get here and it's like we don't like you and
Yep.
we don't like your people and why are you here? And they're like, well, I was given a map with this X as, my destination.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got here and it was supposed to be like, what is that? El Dorado, And it turned out it was not that.
Yeah, no, very true.
I don't know. It just sucks. It sucks. It all sucks. And I wouldn't feel bad if Native Americans were just like, you know what? We're gonna take it back. And it's like, okay, yeah, go you. Go you. Yeah, if you could do it, do it. But I don't I don't know. I don't agree with people who are like, you should feel ashamed
Your
for being
ancestors'
the
actions.
descendant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
I'm like, I don't agree with that because that wasn't my choice. I also don't agree with like countries who are shamed, for their past generations stuff. Like all of Germany. Like, or all of the Czech Republic. I don't think whole countries should be, their populace be shamed for what they did in the past.
I
I don't
mean, by
agree with
that
that.
logic, we should be shamed for a multitude of things as well, but we're not.
I mean, yes. Yes. Although we should know our history. I don't argue that. Which
With
definitely
how it
haven't.
was taught for me in Utah, it was very pro-US in terms of like we do nothing wrong. We've never done anything wrong. We'll never do anything wrong. Like we are
Yeah,
perfect. Um,
yeah,
and that's definitely not the case, and it makes me sad. I kind of expected that, but I don't know. Like I think we need more of critical thinking in the US because we still have that
yeah.
mentality. No, kitty. Hey, this is why I don't want you right there. No, no, no. You go on the bed. All
I
right.
mean, every country takes some things out of their textbook where they're like, oh, this wouldn't be a good light. And I mean, I don't think any country should do it. I also think that we should have, a universal governing system and like super other, I don't know, what would be considered liberal ideas of, you know, what should, sorry, of what should happen. But I don't know. I just, we're all human, y'all. you know? We're all human. We need an alien invasion, to really
I
bring us together.
I honestly agree with you wholeheartedly because I kept thinking like what is gonna at this point, alleviate a lot of what we're feeling. Like we need something that unifies us because we have all these petty politics over like geopolitics is a bitch, right? And there's so many other things that we just
Yeah.
have the stupidest like the most inane asinine fights over and we could just be, moving on as a society, but here we are. It just that's what frustrates me. Like we are so mean to each other. We are so incredibly mean to each other, and I've seen it with my own eyes. Like I've attended many of the protests this year, and ooh, new challenge. What did I just what did I do? What did I do?
I don't know what's going on.
I'm playing Minecraft and I walk someplace and I don't know. Laylee made this
Oh
sick
my
sky
gosh, you're
bridge.
streaming.
Yeah, Laylee made this super cool thing. Oh, this is a cool pathway. Um, yeah, I don't know. Big bummer. It's just dumb that we as people are silly. Silly's a understatement,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, if we all took the entire wealth, and I'm not saying that we should be communist. I'm just saying that if we took the entire wealth that isn't being used, right?
oh my
Just
God, you sound like
as
a
like,
socialist.
oh my god, but what I mean to say is that even if you just look at it just for like the effect, I guess, of looking at it, and then you look at how much you could do with it, it's quite a stark contrast. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with it just because I don't. If you do agree with it, I don't really care because democracy, and even though like a little too political to say, I guess, but I'll say it anyway, I don't think we're a democracy. But
Ooh, what do you
um
think we are, if you don't mind me asking?
um I forgot what it was called. It's because a true democracy would with all the technology that we have now, you could just vote on everything,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't. We have a idolocracy or something. It's one where you choose representatives and then they do the voting, but they don't actually and then it makes it how it is now, where the people doing the voting for the public aren't actually voting for the public.
Mm-hmm.
They're voting for the people who can influence either them or the public. But I mean, even if you had a democracy, the person who can influence the public would win. So, not a big step there, I suppose.
I
But
like what you said
let me look
about
it up.
influencing the public because that's a big problem we have in the U.S. that I think you could agree. Um,
Yeah,
where those that have the media access, like for example, our debates are honestly ass in this country. It does not give anybody enough time to get to know their president, and nobody really wants to take the time, I guess, to like
yeah,
fully understand,
yeah,
Um, and I think that's a big problem in my eyes because like people look at the TV and they're like, who do I like the most? And for some reason, I
yeah.
feel like people project a lot where they have some. What are all these achievements I'm getting? They project in the sense where it's like, who do I like the most because of my skin color, or who do I like the most because they said like one thing that I really latch onto, or what's even worse
Yeah.
is those that are with the bipartisanship. They decide like, hey, you know, this is what I want. Like because they're
Yeah.
Republican, I'm gonna vote for them. Like not because of their ideals, just because they're the same political party. Which is why I don't like a two-party system, in my opinion. But I don't know.
Same.
I think it's ridiculous.
I moved to computer so that I can use my. Oh wait, I have to put my headphones in.
There you go. Magma cream. I'll take this golden apple. Store. Take.
Alright, so now I can watch your stream and talk to you and use my phone to look up Japanese words. Whoa.
Hell yeah. Block of iron. What the? Yeah, multitasking is a dream.
But yeah,
That is nice.
for sure. But no, on what you were saying, yeah, I agree. Joe, influencing the party. But to be fair, I don't think that we really teach people to think critically.
That's what I was thinking. Like we in this country do not really teach critical thinkers. So like my boss is I got my boss, Aqua, my own boss. I got in
I'm ready.
a debate with him for 3 hours at work. He just started to go at it with me because he knows that I supported the protests and stuff and still do,
Right.
you know. And he was
I'm
getting in a
glad you
fight.
feel safe, and I hope you remain so.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But yeah, I've been in support of the protests, and I also understand like there's a bit to both sides. Like we've had some pretty shitty people, you know, in terms of like those that say they're for Black Lives Matter, and then the way that they act does not necessarily reflect those same views. Or even better is when you get those people who are what? Oh, they're breaking down the
I have
door.
no idea. I can't see the stream.
Oh, I hope it's not like broken. They're breaking into their house thing. Oh, that's not my problem. Okay, but it just is interesting, I guess. Like they're so close-minded to other people's views, especially my boss. So if I asked him anything, like what bugged me the most is I was talking to him like, all right, so in regards to the coronavirus stuff, whether you think it's a actual deadly virus or not, what do you think of all the people that have died? He's like, oh, it's necessary losses to keep our economy going. And I chewed him out. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking about? Like, these are actual human beings, and you're just not gonna care, you know?
Yeah.
And it just makes me so sad that people can not relate in such a sense where they're just like, yeah, it's fine. Like, these are people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do consider myself like in the middle, truly in the middle. Like it's kind of when in D&D you have someone who's lawful neutral because they're just like, I'm lawful to my own code, like, you know.
Yeah, no, I
or
definitely see
something
what you're
like
saying.
that. So I think I'm more like that, but dealing with others on both sides, to be honest, I'm like, okay, if I can see both sides, I'm not gonna argue, you know, for or against either one of them. If you're leaning heavily one way, I'll be devil's advocate, you know.
Same. That's exactly how I am. Like, I'd rather just be devil's advocate than anything.
Yeah, yeah. Just because I think, like, okay, so my boss, he likes to say stuff that is really edgy, I suppose. Or at least he'd like to say that it's edgy. And then as soon as someone gets offended, he'll be like, "Oh, I was just trying to get you. See, I got you. I got you riled up. That's all I was trying to do." And eventually, I'd like had enough, because how do you know he's trying to rile you up until he says it, you know? So I told him, I was like, the only difference between, saying something that's really out there, that people, know, and believe in, and the difference between, what is it? Oh, it's too early in the morning is what it is. What is it? So, not sarcasm. It's when you're like, satire. The only difference between satire and extremist views is your audience's belief that you're joking.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I was like, I think that you're just saying these things to see what response you get and then going. So you need to be upfront about it. You know, you need to be upfront with, are you being sarcastic? Are you being, you know, whatever or not?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Because like right now, I feel like, so I've been personally talking about this for many years because I think it started with Obama, was the polarization.
Yep.
And it really hurts when you have a bipartisan, you know,
Yep.
country. So like it's been polarizing really, really hard.
Yep.
Well, really bad. And when you do that, it's like, okay, are you extremist? Or are you being satirical?
Yep.
I don't know. And I don't know if you know. And that's scary.
Yes. No. Very well put. I agree wholeheartedly. We live in a society, and yeah, I don't know. It's hard to have rational conversations with people without them getting really offended. What should I name this helmet?
Yeah.
Random question.
I can't see it, so what does it look like?
It's a little blue diamond helmet. Let's see, why isn't my stream streaming? Let me look at this really quick.
It'd be fun to like name it something like half the set, you know? Because if you're blue balling, you've only got one. It's like half the set. That would be kind of funny.
Blue balling?
Kinda, yeah. Like, you know, because you got half the set of your blue balls. I don't know. That just sounds kind of funny to me.
It is called blue balling now.
Awesome. I don't know. You said it was small and blue and rounded, so I'm like, there you go.
I'm in search of. I've just been like going from base to base. Every time I log on, I just find someone's base because they keep connected. Like Leilu connected a bunch of people to this one, I guess. And I wish the stream would work. I don't know why it's not, but oh, that's a creeper.
It's okay.
That's a creeper. No.
Oh no.
I don't want it to blow up on their stuff.
I like how that's your concern. That's a really sweet concern.
Well, even though it's PvP, like I know what it's like to have your shit blown up, so I want to prevent that if I can. Oh, they have a villager. Nice. What does he sell? Ooh, okay. For bows, interesting. Sticks, fruit, emeralds, interesting. Yeah, everyone's just been like, I can't even say that I worked for anything in this save. I've just found stuff. Because there's so many people playing. And like I told them it's PvP, like they're welcome to steal and do whatever they want with whatever. But, yeah. What does this lead to?
Layla was way too kind. I was seeing, like, she was spending hours on the server and being like, oh, I built this for everyone. Oh, I built this for everyone. And I was like, I could never kill you.
Yeah.
Like, if I joined.
Yeah, she's a fantastic person with that. Very much of a philanthropist.
Yeah.
Ooh, ender chest.
Which, I mean, I appreciate. I actually finished a commission for her recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was doing some polymer charms. You probably saw it in the chat. And she was just like, I can't find anything I want as much as yours. I was like, well, I guess I'll make you some. Here we go.
That's awesome.
I really hope she likes them. I'm not by any means a professional, so.
I think she will.
I mean, just because she's so sweet, she will, but I don't know if, like, she'll be mildly disappointed or not. We'll see. Maybe if she asks for a second commission later, then I'll know.
Yeah, probably. Fushu. Should I say Fushu's here? I'll say nice base. And thank you for the emeralds and
Fish. Thank you for the fish.
you think he'll understand a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference? Thanks for all the fish.
I don't know, but that's what I was doing, and you got it.
Let's put the number 42 someplace in their base.
Yes.
I don't need apples. But yeah, this is what I figured would happen if Lily linked the bases, so they still did it anyways. Red's gonna hate me once he finds out.
Why is that?
Because I raided him last time. It's funny because him and George sold each other out. I was just kind of chilling, and then I think it was Brett, he gave me their cords. So I ran over there, and I found Red in the base, so I killed him, took his stuff, and then he was all butthurt, and he had right to be butthurt. And then George is hiding in the nether, but I couldn't find where George is at, and I was like, Red, like, tell me where George is, and I'll give you your stuff back, because George had all of their loot. But he wouldn't do it. George gets back, and George is like, hey, if you let me go, I will tell you where Red's diamond armor is. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And then they just kept selling each other out, and so I kept finding more things. I didn't have to do anything. It was pretty funny.
Wow. And the thing is that the first guy didn't even sell him out.
Yeah, he didn't.
Oy, oy, humanity. Oh, the humanity.
Right? It hurts. So humanity. So much. Give back this. I'll give that. I'll store that. But yeah, I don't really. My goal is just to max out all the ores, and then get full netherite, and then I don't know what I'll do at that point. Honestly, something. But that's the thing. I feel like people have been kind of dying off of Minecraft because like there's not a lot. There's not like any clear goals that anyone's trying to strive for. And I've been wanting to add more plugins that like add mod functionality and stuff for this very reason.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way about Terraria. Once you get to certain places where you have to like mine for the next thing, and you're just like, well, I don't really want to get on because my only goal is to mine for this one thing, and that just, I know I can't, or it'll take forever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although I've been playing Factorio with Ben recently.
How's that?
He has a very good voice as well. You too should just stream together. You'll make thousands of people.
I compliment him on his voice a lot. I do appreciate the compliment though, but.
Oh really? Oh man, he was saying that he had heard that from someone before, that his voice sounded really good and he needs to like record it and give it to the world.
He does. He just is like disarming almost. He's just like, ha ha ha. You know, laughs about something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Ben.
Yeah, and it's so wholesome. Like, I'm like, man, I'm not really good at Factorio, you know, just sort of bear with me, I guess. And he's just like, oh, what? No, you're fine, of course, you know, and I'm like, ugh, you're wholesome, and it hurts. Like, I have such a wicked soul that when you hang out with, like, good people, you're just like, it's painful to hang out with you just because of how good you are.
Yep.
I feel that way with Leilu as well. I'm like, I have to be super nice around Leilu because, like, just because if I'm at all mean, I feel like, oh, you know, now I'm a terrible, horrible person, you know.
Yeah, I feel you. It's interesting because like I at first tried to like be more like tiptoe a little bit more, but now it's hard when she is doing really well against you in a video game. So I'm just like, ah, whatever.
Huh? Yeah, yeah. Well, she was telling me she's under 18, which I did not know, and I was just like, okay. So now I'm just more in the mode of, you know, she isn't super worldly, you know, and yeah, just sort of not protection mode, but like being nice, doing stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but she's really sweet.
Yeah, I agree.
And
She's,
I don't want to be the one who breaks that.
I feel that. I feel like she's pretty tough. She's very smart. Like she's incredibly smart, and it repeatedly like blows me away. Like when she just barely made the bot for the Discord, and yeah, it's not like it just in a couple of days she's made so much progress, and I was like, what? Oh, that's a ghast. Uh-oh.
Well, like in Minecraft as well, she was explaining how she was going to be making some of these things, and I was like, that's actually quite advanced, you know? That's
Mm-hmm.
like if I were trying to make the same thing in
Kitty.
Terraria, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I feel that. I've been wanting to make another Terraria server, but
Right on.
I don't know when I'd get to that.
Honestly, you probably have enough games on your plate at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I wouldn't jump into a Terraria server.
Yeah, like I love Terraria, but when I play it, like I really want to play it, and it would be probably my last playthrough of Terraria for quite some time because they came out with a new update a while ago, and I
Yeah.
usually would just come and play, like go through a new playthrough every update. But Starbound also kind of ruined Terraria for me because Starbound's like infinite, you know. But Terraria to me is more intimate, I guess. Starbound's just endless.
I haven't been introduced to Starbound.
It's made by some of the same people. You have the Chucklefish Company, and Starbound's quite the treat, honestly.